is their appointed duty. They keep trying to tell me all you want to do is use me. But my answer ain't all that use me stuff.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Come here. Yeah, you. Come here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Not that close.
Damn. Oh my goodness. Back up. Yes, back up, back up. Yes, right there. That's perfect. Oh, man, I was going to tell you before you so rudely, absolutely assaulted me, I will be pressing charges, that you made it just in time because, as you see, I've been sent here by the Gaming Investigative Crimes Unit to solve a crime. And not just any old crime, but the crime of murder. And specifically, who killed Xbox. And of course, because of this, I've been equipped with everything that a detective would be equipped with to deal with this sort of crime. This cool-ass outfit, a handgun that YouTube won't let me show you until at least 5 minutes into the video, a big-ass badge that automatically makes me better than you. Get on the ground! No, I'm just kidding, but seriously. And of course, how could I forget, most importantly, every single detective has this, we all know what it is, a watch that allows me to travel throughout time, which I have used to bring us here to our first clue. You see, the year is 1991, and behind this door are a group of Sony representatives that are getting their world rocked as we speak. You see, for the last few years, Sony has been in talks to collaborate with another company, one you may know, Nintendo. And specifically, these discussions revolve around Sony creating a CD-ROM extension for the upcoming Nintendo console in the SNES. You see, the reason that they are so intensely discussing this is twofold. A, because Sega has just recently announced a CD-ROM extension for their console, the Sega Genesis. And B, the people behind the scenes at Sony believe that playing games with a CD will be the future of gaming. You see, at the time, most consoles and even the TurboGrafx-16, which is more akin to a CPU, instead used cartridges to ship their games. And while those had worked up until this point, its use was quickly coming under fire due to the fact that compared to CDs, the cartridge held much less data on itself, meaning that game developers were significantly hamstringed in what they could include in their games if they had to ship it on a cartridge. With CD's larger space available, devs could include more vast and detailed video sequences as well as more high-quality soundtracks to be included on the game. As opposed to the 8 and 16-bit limitations for video game music at the time, this would have been a huge step into the future. Anyways, hopefully now it's obvious to you why Sony and Nintendo were in such heavy talks to complete this project. Only it wouldn't go quite as swimmingly as one may think. You see, it seemed that Nintendo was significantly less interested in this product than Sony. Internally, Nintendo believed that the trade-off of larger file spaces for longer load times would be something that would inevitably bore and drive away their player base. So while Nintendo would ultimately give Sony the go-ahead to work on this product, it would come from more of a place of reluctance than enthusiasm. So flash forward to where we are now, 2 days before the summer CES, which was essentially a conference dedicated to announce Nintendo's new console, as well as any games or extensions they had planned for the future. And as you'll see through this door, Sony executives sit shocked to find that Nintendo has decided not to go with them, but to instead go with Philips to help create their CD-ROM extension. And while some stories may tell you that Sony expected to be announced as the partner of this project even up until the actual announcement of said project, the truth is slightly less dramatic. Yes, Sony long thought they would be working on this project with Nintendo, but as mentioned, they were tipped off of the foul play 2 days before the announcement of said project. It came from a Nintendo representative spilling the beans in a local news publication. So while they weren't quite totally backstabbed, a portion of Sony's representatives did indeed feel slighted by this backstabbing. Specifically, Ken Kutaragi, a Sony employee at the time who was especially sold on the future of gaming lying within CDs. You see, he made it his personal mission to discuss and persuade the Sony higher-ups to make their own console, one that exclusively ran on CD-ROMs. So while some Sony higher-ups saw it as stepping on the toes of Nintendo, who they had previously had good relationships with, many also shared the sentiment of Kutaragi, and in that what Nintendo had just done was unforgivable. And thus the idea of the PlayStation 1 was born. Despite initial talks of making a new console with Nintendo's biggest rival in Sega, Sony ultimately decided to finance the project themselves. This further amped up the competition, as Nintendo ultimately never released their CD extension, almost as if they never planned to in the first place. This was further backed up by the fact that Nintendo's next console after the SNES would also run on cartridges, pointing to the fact that the CD extension may have been little more than a ploy to keep people from buying the new Sega, as Nintendo's was right around the corner. Anyways, how exactly did this CD-ROM versus cartridge thing end up working out? Well, in order to find that out, we're going to have to travel forward into 1999 to see exactly how each console fared.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Oh, sorry. Time travel hurts really bad. Well, the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 1 have both been out for a reasonable enough amount of time that we can look at the sales on each of these and see how they compare. I'm sure the PlayStation 1 probably had a good showing, but there's no way they were kind of able to live up to the monolith that is Nintendo.
Oh my goodness!
So yeah, despite the PlayStation being a brand new console, it still massively outsold the Nintendo 64 by a margin of 3-1. Man, that's gotta feel good for Kutaragi. I mean, bro's probably doing snow angels in it, you know what I'm saying? The future of gaming is here, and it's in the form of the compact disc, baby. You see, while Nintendo did create some amazing games and innovated in some key areas, the technology of the cartridge was simply no match for the compact disc. As a result of that and the sheer amount of great new games coming to the PlayStation, it was impossible to resist the allure of a brand new console taking advantage of what at the time was considered the cutting edge of video game technology. Now you may be asking yourself, okay Josh, that's all well and good, but what does this have to do with the death of Xbox? And to that I'd say, don't you think it's a little weird that of all the years I chose 1999, 5 years after the PlayStation 1 came out and 3 years after the N64? Well, if you thought that, then your suspicion would be correct, because at this moment we're speaking, Ken Kutaragi and Bill Gates are currently having a meeting that to this day we still don't know very much about. You see, all we know of this meeting is that from the start, Ken Kutaragi had no interest in attending. You see, at the time, Kutaragi was already knee-deep in plans for the PS2. However, the higher-ups at Sony encouraged him to take this meeting with Bill Gates and Microsoft. What for, you may ask? Why, only the possibility of these two companies coming together to make the PlayStation 2. Yes, I know it may shock you to hear this, but initially Microsoft had its eyes set on joining PlayStation in its quest for complete gaming dominance. And while we may not know exactly what happened in this meeting, we do know one thing. The man for Microsoft who ended up getting this meeting together was quoted as saying to Bill Gates after the meeting, "I don't control Ken Kutaragi." I hope you don't mind, but I went ahead and time traveled during that edit just so you didn't have to hear me scream again, or just in case I had to end up changing my plots. Anyways, the year is now 2001. Little Joshy has just entered the world, and the PlayStation 2 is completely dominating the gaming space. And by dominating, I mean dominating. You see, to this day, the PlayStation 2 is still the greatest selling video game console of all time.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh, who was that? And while this victory may have come in resounding fashion, it was not without its competitors. Maybe or maybe not because of the ill-fated meeting between the two, Microsoft had now entered the foray themselves into couch gaming with the release of the original Xbox. You see, many believe the creation of the Xbox was solely due to the perceived threat against Microsoft's computer business that PlayStation posed, due to less individuals seeing the need to own a PC when they could instead opt for a compact and convenient game box that sits right beneath the TV. Other sources point to the fact of PlayStation's unwillingness to be a friend, referring specifically to the meeting had between Ken Kutaragi and Bill Gates being the main reason for Xbox entering into the gaming scene. Whether it was a result of wanting to get back at the other company or not, one thing was clear: Microsoft wanted in. The question is, was this competitive display enough to drive PlayStation to commit murder in the future, or simply a competitive back and forth? I can't know for certain yet, but it's definitely an interesting beginning to a story that will sadly end in bloodshed. That's besides the point.
You can help me.
Because the PlayStation 2 just came out and launched console gaming into a new stratosphere.
Nintendo would respond with the GameCube, which, while amazing and iconic in its own right, would once again fail to topple the new kid on the block, this time being the Xbox.
And while Xbox definitely didn't have a bad showing, it surely wasn't on the level of the PS1 in terms of a brand new console entering into the gaming market. However, even with the significant difference in sales numbers, something interesting was born. People began clinging to their favorite console as if it was their nationality. People up in arms about which side was superior and why. A video game turf war of sorts that only seemed to further the fanaticism and intense competition between each side. And while in the past there had been video game console rivalries, there was never one quite like this. Console exclusive games only served to pour fuel on the fire as passionate fans for each side arose like never before. Do you like Master Chief, or do you like Kratos? Do you like green, or do you like blue? You like diagonal thumbsticks? Maybe horizontal thumbsticks. See, while the Xbox may not have dented the PlayStation 2's sales, it presented them with a foil, an antagonist. For now, a little brother, but with the power of Microsoft behind it. Who knew what could happen? Well, PlayStation sure felt like they knew. You see, the year is now 2005, and everywhere you look, you see this baby and this guy for some reason. However, while PlayStation was busy glazing itself about the grandiosity of its newest console, Xbox was waiting in the wings with an ace up their sleeve. You see, Sony was supremely confident in their abilities after the release of the PlayStation 2. I mean, who wouldn't be? They'd smashed records and propelled themselves to the new juggernaut of the gaming industry. So for their next console, they decided to go even bigger, and in their eyes, even better. You see, after the success of the PlayStation 2 for Sony, it was no longer enough to just have a stranglehold on the video games market. Oh no. Sony needed more. And in their quest to deliver more and push the envelope, Sony decided to aim its sights on home entertainment as a whole. A built-in internet browser, a Blu-ray player, and more all contributed to what Sony would bill as a supercomputer for computer entertainment. And as you may guess, for a product this advanced, the reveal was very, well, to put it nicely, tech. See, for the first time, the reveal of a new console felt more like a tech presentation than a grand revelation that will change the world forever. You see, while PlayStation may have had the best intentions for how they plan to announce and promote this console, they seem to forget the most important thing about selling a video game console. You see, at this period of gaming history, video games were targeted and made for mainly children. And I'm sorry, Ken, I'm not watching this shit. I'm not watching this shit, bro. But I will watch this shit. Yeah! Oh my gosh, is that Elijah Wood hot off the release of Lord of the Rings? That's so sick. And oh my gosh, is that Sway? You don't got the answer, Sway, except this time he actually does. And Pimp My Ride is here and the Killers are here. I'm Mr. And listen, I understand that technically I haven't heard jack shit about this console, but look at that thing.
Mom! Mom! Mom, can I have an Xbox 360?
No, Mom, look, it shoots lasers. So yeah, the stark difference between these two conferences just goes to show what tone each company was going for to promote their new product. The Xbox 360 is a sleek, high-tech gaming machine that shoots out lasers and plays Mr. Brightside out of the back of it, while the PlayStation 3 essentially is a glorified movie player for my grandma. Oh. No shade, I'm very happy my grandma has a new movie player. And let's be frank, it's very good at that. And now we can boot up the scratched up copy of Year One starring Jack Black and Michael Cera that we got from Hastings and forgot to bring back without any issue. But if you're asking me to choose between this green sex machine and essentially a new library computer with a Blu-ray player and a George Foreman grill slapped on top, I think I'm rocking with Mr. Gates on this one. Thank you very much. No, but in all seriousness, despite the distinct difference in the announcements for each console, there was still a massive amount of hype for both. I mean, who wouldn't be excited for the next chapter in the PlayStation saga? Year after year, they knock it out of the park, and even though I literally can't understand 90% of the shit coming out of Ken's mouth right now, it sounds pretty cool, and that giraffe looks sick as hell, I can't even lie. But on the flip side of things, the new kids on the block really came to play this time. And not only are we getting a nice grouping of launch titles, but you know it's only a matter of time before we get the continuation of Halo, which you literally have to have an Xbox to play. Oh boy, there is just so much good going on right now. However, just as hype was at an all-time high and things were gearing up for the launch of these two consoles, Xbox pulled the ace out of their sleeve, releasing the 360 a full year ahead of when the PlayStation 3 was planned to be released. This sent shockwaves throughout the gaming industry. As for those who were in the market for a new console, there was no longer a decision to make. The 360 was here, and it was here in its full green Frutiger Arrow glory. And it was a smashing success, giving itself a 6 million unit head start over the PlayStation 3, and spoiler alert, would outsell the PlayStation 3 for most of these consoles' life cycles, only to be surpassed at the very end before the next generation was slated to come out. Meaning that not only did Xbox's plan of releasing the 360 a year earlier work, it worked even better than they planned. You see, while the 360 was already out, PlayStation was stuck making similarly uninteresting panels in an effort to stall 360 purchases, reminding people that
the next generation doesn't start until we say it does.
And these lackluster reveals served to only further bolster the 360's popularity, as it was clear that Sony was overconfident and believed that they were untouchable after the release of the PlayStation 2. And no matter the connection we have with them, no one likes to see a billion-dollar company act like they're untouchable. And so after wading through the many weird-ass ads that Sony released, thinking for some reason this would win over the public to the PlayStation 3, it was finally released. With like no games. No games. Okay, maybe that's a little unfair, because looking at these two, they're kind of similar levels of coolness, but the differentiating factor was that the 360 not only had these games, but all the games released up until now, whereas the PlayStation only had their release lineup. And they won't even end up getting some of their better titles until at least a year down the line. It was also $600 fucking. And if we go a little bit further into the future, this doesn't hurt as bad because we're not going as far. We are met with what would be coined as the future of gaming in the Xbox Connect. And the PlayStation Move, but nobody really cares about that. If you're anything like me, you got your first Xbox 360 when the Connect came, bundled together with the console, and you proceeded to spend the next 30 days straight absolutely breaking it down on Dance Central. And you see, while PlayStation did match Xbox with essentially a Wii ripoff of their own, they always seem to be one step behind Xbox. And that's not even to mention the Wii. I mean, that thing is in a whole different stratosphere. But this is about who killed Xbox, and I'm pretty sure Nintendo didn't do it. I mean, I don't know what the hell they got going on over there. I'm gonna just let them do their own thing. Anyways, the 360 was a complete smash hit, and in many ways started the console wars in how we remember them today. That fanaticism born in the previous era was at an all-time high now, and was only increasing as more and more games were released for each individual console. The vitriol between fan bases was brought to a fever pitch, possibly even high enough to drive one to murder. I see what you got going on over there, Ken. I see what kind of game you're playing.
It's Ridge Racer.
No, not
Ridge Racer.
No, not,
remember that one?
No, not Ridge Racers. I'm murder. I'm talking about murder. Maybe the idea of your underling, which you once thought so little of you didn't even want to have a meeting with, besting you, was just too tough of a pill to swallow. So you did the man. Maybe the embarrassment of creating the entity that's actively dethroning you was such an embarrassing thought that it drove you mad. Or maybe it was just that smug look on Bill's face. Whatever it was, it's looking awfully bad for you and PlayStation. You better hope that whatever I find in this next generation completely absolves you of anything, because
won't stop working if you haven't offended.
oh, thank goodness the PlayStation is back! And this is even better because if the new Xbox is even close to the jump in quality that the Xbox 360 was, surely we're going to get some fiery competition between these two.
There ain't no early release to save your ass this time, boy.
No, wait, please. Oh, damn. Oh, damn, he's really beating his ass.
Oh, hey, I know you. You're Prey Thug, right? I liked and subscribed, please.
Did you ring the notification bell? Nope, then I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you, dude. No, I'm not helping you.
Please, just a little, just...
Oh, damn. Maybe I should have helped.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Nah, never mind. Fuck that guy. So yeah, the launch of the Xbox One didn't go so well.
£429 in the UK.
To put it lightly. And by proxy, the launch of the PlayStation 4 went extremely well. You see, while the hype for the new Xbox was at an all-time high due to people wanting to see how Microsoft would follow up their smashing success of the 360, people were quickly met with disappointment. You see, from the jump, it was clear that Xbox was going to try and do what they do best, and that was out-PlayStationing the PlayStation. And due to their head start last time, they believed that that was going to be creating a better gaming console for the people. A streamlined gaming experience that provided players with numerous ways to play. Anyways, we knew about how Xbox was able to use that strategy last time to create a smashing success in the 360, but this time around it was clear that they wanted to try and out PS3, the PS3. And boy, did they ever. On May 21st, 2013, Microsoft officially revealed the Xbox One, coming packaged with a new and improved Kinect system. While this was somewhat exciting, fans were still eagerly waiting to see how this console would push the new generation of gaming forward.
TV experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. TV.
Okay, well, that was kind of a bummer, but surely the gaming stuff will be cool, even though they didn't show much of it. Surely it'll be cool though, right?
Can I trade in my game that I've bought new?
Maybe. Depends on the publisher, right?
Yeah.
So publishers will dictate whether or not you can trade a game. So if you buy a Ubisoft game, Ubisoft will say yes or no, you can trade this, and yes or no, you can trade it at this particular outlet at retail.
We've also got new information about what happens if you want to lend your friend a game.
Oh, you can't at all.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was not. You see, when I mentioned them trying to out PS3 the PS3, I really meant it. It seemed that much like Sony in the previous generation, Xbox viewed the competition within the gaming space as irrelevant and instead focused their sights on attacking home entertainment as a whole. But sadly for them, Year One starring Jack Black and Michael Cera was not as popular as it once was, so this strategy backfired on them big time. You see, in revealing the new Xbox in this way, it sent a clear message to gamers. We are uninterested in making what you want. This combined with the more Windows style format really drove home the point that they were trying to sell a home entertainment supercomputer rather than a console. Man, where have I heard that before? So yeah, the emphasis on TV and sports was clearly a letdown for many fans, and that surely wouldn't go unnoticed. However, the next and even possibly worst slip up they would make would come in regards to the way in which you would play your games on the new Xbox. You see, Xbox was intending to implement a system that would require you to check in every day in order to play your games, meaning that you would need a stable internet connection at all times to even use this thing. You see, while this may not seem like a big deal now, at the time we were coming hot off the advent of LAN parties and split-screen gaming, meaning that many gamers were accustomed to and even preferred the experience of playing offline. Thus saying that in order to even use the console, you needed to have an online connection at all times. That rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And while this was bad enough, they just couldn't stop pushing the feces-filled envelope even further. They would also announce a system in which upon downloading a game, it would be watermarked to a specific user, thus giving Microsoft the ability to block them from sharing it with others, or even worse, reselling it in general. So essentially, if your Wi-Fi went out for a day, you couldn't play your games anymore. And if you wanted to sell those games or maybe give them to a friend because, you know, you can't play them anymore, yeah, Microsoft would bar you from being able to do that. It even seems as though this always online feature was mainly implemented in order to check the status of your games and whether you had tried to resell them or give them to a friend, thus even further extending Microsoft's grip on your gaming experience. And while this isn't explicitly stated anywhere that I could find, I can only imagine that this may be in reference to things like texture streaming that we have nowadays. If you've played any of the recent Call of Duties, you should know an awful lot about texture streaming. Class is in session, bet. You see, texture streaming is essentially the ability for your game or console to stream in textures to the game from the cloud. The appeal to this is that hopefully the file size of said game comes down, and it also may kind of lighten the load for developers in that they don't have to program the game to be able to work completely offline, which with a lot of online features in most games nowadays can serve to be extremely difficult. However, once again, if you have played any of the recent Call of Duties, you would know that there are many more cons to this than there are pros. See, now it's entirely dependent on your internet connection how well your game will run. Thus, if you have more of an inconsistent internet connection, they will load these textures into your game less optimally. Also, in order to do this, these games have to always be online. So you'll be presented with things like having to load into a lobby to play a single player game, increased lag in general, and worst of all, things like pause time, even in single player games, because even though you're playing by yourself, you're still taking up space on the game's dedicated server. And finally, the fact that the moment the company that made it stops supporting the game, you will be completely unable to play said game, thus making what you bought for $60 to $70 completely worthless. Some may argue that the time you spent playing, if you did enjoy it, could be worth $70 on its own. And while I could argue that, for the sake of the argument, I will give you that. However, what this means is that you are no longer buying a game or software, you are buying a license to play the company's game or software. Meaning that you no longer own the games that you have purchased. You are simply renting them from a company that the moment they decide they don't want to honor your rental anymore, they don't have to. Anyways, that whole side tangent is there to show you how bad that could end up being for gaming in general. And then to flip it on its head by recontextualizing it in the fact that Xbox wanted to do that to a console. They essentially wanted to sell you a piece of plastic that would become a hunk of junk the moment they decided to pull the plug on the servers. And worst of all, when presented with this concern, the then president of Microsoft responded by saying,
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
"Hey bozo, did you forget you aren't the only console on the market?" Well, the customers didn't forget. See, by this time, the reveal of the PS4 had already happened, and while it wasn't anything spectacular, it was clear that they had learned their lesson from the PS3. The showcase was completely gameplay focused, showing an array of new games as well as how good these new games could look on this next-gen console. However, the hype behind the PS4 didn't really tick up until they finally took the opportunity to respond to Xbox. See, the PlayStation knew they dropped the ball in regards to the PS3 and its sales, so when they saw a chance to strike back at their newfound equal and possibly take them down a peg, they took it. In response to the news that Xbox was planning on watermarking people's games and possibly preventing them from being able to share it, they responded with this simple video.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
This is like next level rage bait. Like, what a crazy dig directly at their competitor. However, despite the upfront nature of this video, it served to show not only how in tune PlayStation was culturally, but how in tune they were with what customers wanted out of a video game console. And PlayStation wouldn't stop there. See, they would go as far as to hold a whole segment during a panel discussing the details of the new PlayStation 4. They would directly state that the PS4 was capable of running completely offline, meaning that if you literally lived in a hut, you could buy a PS4 and play games on it. No internet connection required whatsoever, as well as explicitly stating that they would take no action to infringe upon allowing customers to do whatever they wanted to do with the games they purchased. Basically saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And just to kind of break out of this time period for a second, if you haven't seen this whole presentation, it's not very long, go and watch it. I'll leave a link to it down below because it's just so refreshing to see the way they kind of talk about, what they're making, especially given, kind of what we have going on in the current gaming industry today. I mean, the emphasis on creating art that lasts is something that we seldom see today, as most gaming companies seem to want to take away our autonomy rather than support it. Anyway, moving forward to the actual launch of this new generation of consoles, and we see that this time PlayStation actually got the head start, not by nearly as much as Xbox last time, but still they did. And maybe most importantly, the PlayStation 4 launched for a whole $100 cheaper than the Xbox, once again proving that they have learned their lesson from the PS3. And even though the Xbox One did start off strong due to a late pivot away from the always online and watermarking games model, it would soon be absolutely crushed by the PS4, who would double it in terms of sales numbers. PlayStation was once again at the top of the hill, and while a lot of the early miscues by Xbox are certainly to blame for this, we can also point to some of the games released, and specifically the exclusives that would be released later on for each individual console. Okay, I'm really not trying to dog on the Xbox too hard here, but let me just list some of these titles real quick. So the Xbox's most notable exclusives here were Halo 5, Forza 4 and 5, Gears of War 5, and Sunset Overdrive. Once again, I'm not trying to hate here, but Sunset Overdrive was really like the one game you could point to there and be like, that's a good exclusive. Okay, but now moving on to PlayStation. Okay, we have Bloodborne, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, damn, they just keep coming, Spider-Man, not to mention a new gen remaster of The Last of Us. And to be fair, let's give Xbox like the Master Chief Collection, if we're including, you know, remasters and remakes into this. Oh, like damn. PlayStation smokes the Xbox's ass bad. And that's not even to mention that for most of these consoles' life cycles, PlayStation had a deal with Call of Duty to get each DLC a month earlier than they would be released on Xbox, which admittedly is a shitty anti-consumer business practice, but the point is that it seemed like no matter what Xbox did, PlayStation had their number and was hell-bent on reclaiming their title as the sole juggernaut in the gaming industry. Well, along with Nintendo, but let's be honest, you're not buying a Nintendo to replace a PlayStation or an Xbox. It's kind of like its own separate thing. Nevertheless, with Sony's recent release of a console, they could now say that the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 all outsold Xbox's most popular console in the Xbox 360. And judging by this, as well as the all-out assault PlayStation just landed on Xbox with the marketing of the PS4, we can deduce that if it was PlayStation who would go on to kill Xbox, it wasn't one attack. It was a prolonged murder. Is this latest attack by Sony just another competitive jab in a long line of friendly competition, or possibly one of the deadliest strikes in what would go on to be a full-fledged homicide? Well, for now it's too soon to say, as despite the absolutely abysmal showing by Xbox at a time in which if they made a better product they really could have grabbed a stranglehold on the market following the 360, they still did some decent things towards the end of this console's life cycle that could possibly point towards a brighter future. You see, late in the life cycle of this console, Microsoft made a bold move, as they would announce a new video game subscription service they would call Xbox Game Pass. The service consisted of a large catalog of games, as well as the promise of future exclusives to be released onto Game Pass on day one. This was the first time that a gaming subscription was made on such a massive scale, and it definitely provided a great value for the consumer. At the low price of only $10 a month and access to all exclusives as well as many beloved games, this was a no-brainer for all Xbox owners. But perhaps it was too good to be true. The only way to tell is to turn the dial one last time to see who or what would bring this console to its likely demise.
If you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true.
Microsoft and Xbox baffle internet after shutting down Hi-Fi Rush.
Sony's disastrous live service push says failures are good, actually.
Hold a candlelight vigil on the Concord.
Hot off the presses, Highguard is officially shutting down.
Failures are good, actually.
Go past this, go past this, go past this, go past this, go past this.
You can't go past this. We're still in it.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you jump forward, it's probably going to be as bad and greedy as it is now.
Well, I'll have you know, buddy, I'm a member of the Gaming Investigative Crimes Unit. I'm currently researching who killed Xbox, and I will not be told what to...
That's a nice little plastic badge you got there, you know? But you won't be needing this anymore.
No!
That's a nice little plastic badge you've got there.
Ow, what the hell? What the hell me? What the hell you? You threw my very high quality plastic badge off the bench.
Sorry, I've kind of just lost hope at this point. I mean, the new consoles have been out for a while and there's no new games. I mean, look.
Oh my gosh, it's even worse than I remember. It's a wasteland.
Yeah, it's hell on earth out there.
I remember when the PlayStation 5 and the Series S came out, there was little controversy besides the fact they were extremely hard to get, but I never imagined it would get to this.
You see, this isn't a supply issue anymore. See, Xbox was first able to get a large amount of Series S to the public, making them easier to get, and soon after the PS5 and Series X would be relatively easy to get as well.
Yeah, but remember how hard they were to get? I basically had to sweat my ass off on 3 separate computers for even a chance to get a PS5. And I'm sure the Xbox was the same way.
That's true, but of course they were limited in games that were truly next-gen because they were making games for both the new-gen and old-gen consoles because of the tough economic state preventing people from getting the new-gen consoles.
No doubt, but this is something different. A hellscape created by corporate greed that's slowly eating itself apart. Is that
the church of PlayStation? Yes, it is.
Come on inside, quick! Quick, quick! Back, you savages! Get back!
It's still holding up well outside of the unnecessary layoffs, price hikes to the consoles, and an egregious obsession with making crappy live service games.
And what is that? Is that Nintendo?
Don't say their name. Don't even look at them. They might copyright strike the video.
Sorry, but what the hell's going on over there? Those people are tearing each other apart and destroying that building.
There he is! That's who did it! That's our killer! That's our killer!
I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! It was PlayStation. This was the final blow. I gotta get down there and arrest them. Guess it's nothing.
Did he make it safely?
Yes, no thanks to the chaos you made out there.
Hey, I'm just doing what has to be done. You should be happy for the business.
I am happy for the business, but not the way that it's came about.
Please, Thera.
So what are you gonna do about all these savages outside, huh?
You just let me worry about that. Have you had time to think further about my proposition?
I already told you. I want nothing to do with your plan, and I don't see how it's at all going to work, but if it means we get Halo, then so be it. Now, it's time you left. You've already been here long enough.
Fine. Have it your way. But this is the future, and I pray you rethink about it before you miss out.
Don't count on it. In the name of the Gaming Investigative Crimes Unit, I place you under arrest for the murder of the Xbox. How could you? How could you? I grew up playing your games. The PS1, the PS2, at my grandparents'. Your original games made me fall in love with gaming. God of War, The Last of Us, hell, I even got the BO3 DLC earlier because of you. I never could have had that experience without your competition with Xbox. It drove you to be better, to compete. Why resort to murder?
I'm not a PlayStation.
Microsoft is announcing the breakthrough game console called Xbox.
No. No. Why, Bill? Why? You had something beautiful with the 360. Why'd you kill it?
It's just like you said. I never wanted to get into this video game business in the first place. I only ever started because of them. They didn't want to be a friend. They created Xbox, and so I was forced to finance it. And I was humiliated not once, not twice, but 3 times. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how much money I poured into this, it always ended the same way. Hell, even the 360 ended up selling less overall than the PS3.
Barely.
But still, the best we could do was barely just short of first place. And even then, I was still foolishly excited. I trusted Don Matrick. He sold me on a vision of Microsoft dominating not only gaming, but entertainment technology as a whole.
TV experience.
But of course he let me down. I couldn't even look him in the eye. The news will say he resigned, but only after I gave him a little nudge. And when he left, that glimmer of hope I once had was gone. That man hanging out with Elijah Wood at the Xbox 360 reveal was dead, and an idea was born. An unsustainable spike in profit that would be enough to fund a future venture that could take the place of this abomination I helped create.
How could you say that? Master Chief, Gears of War, Forza, Fable, Hi-Fi Rush? Do those mean nothing to you?
No! You know, kid, if there's one thing in this life I've learned, it's that the only thing that can't disappoint you in this world is money.
No, that's
Friends
not true.
can disappoint you. Even family can disappoint you, and most heartbreakingly of all, your creations can disappoint you. I know you know the feeling. Look at your fireside chat videos. Damn is right. So what if I had someone else do the idea creating for me? And what if the thing that made that someone so special wasn't the ideas that it created, but the fact that it could create ideas at all? And so we created Game Pass, marketed as a budget-friendly option for gamers, but if you even took a second look at it, you'd know it was too good to be true. Asking dev studios to pour their heart and souls into games that they'd hardly see a dime off of, because it would go straight to Game Pass. Look at Hi-Fi Rush, an objectively beautiful and well-thought-out game released to critical acclaim, only for the people who made it to be canned the next day.
No!
Oh, yes. And more layoffs, raising the prices over and over, pumping out more slop, along with the occasional blockbuster to keep people coming back, all in an effort to get enough money to buy that. The long-standing giant of the game industry. Some say they hear it speak to them. It speaks of its dominion. Its roots extend far beyond these lands. Legends say it will stand till the end of time and then beyond. You see, Game Pass was never a bargain for the players made by a company trying to win back favor. It was a lure thrown out into a sea of mindless fish to see who would bite.
No!
Nothing more than a tool to build insurmountable wealth. Don't you see, it was never meant to last. It was only meant to get us here. To buy us a beating heart to fuel us while we venture onto a new path. An easier path. A path that requires no effort of my own. A path that in time will become self-sustaining.
No. You don't mean.
Artificial intelligence.
No!
Yes! And my plan has gone exactly to fruition. We already have the beating heart. There's no need for extra devs, and if I have it my way, this will replace them entirely. We already snuck AI into Call of Duty. That is only the beginning. The layoffs will only continue and the prices will only continue to raise. And then just when you think it can't go any further, it'll be too late.
So what, you're just gonna pump out AI slop? Who's gonna buy that?
We're already doing it. Everything you see, everywhere you look, it's spreading like an infection.
Hey, stop.
Always online.
I'm warning you.
Completely AI created with minimal human oversight.
I'm serious.
We'll buy all the RAM and GPUs and price you out of even thinking about buying the newest technology.
Not one more step!
This isn't about gaming. This is about erasing your autonomy. You will own nothing, and you will like it.
Not one more step! What's going on?
What you couldn't tell? It's AI. I admire your hard work getting here, kid. Truly. It's just unfortunate that it's obsolete now. Your hard work, your drive, your creativity, their creativity. It's bleeding out. It's on its last legs, and I, personally, can't wait. Any last words?
You'll never snuff out human creativity. It's been here long before you, and it'll be here long after.
At least you'll die thinking that. Black Ops 7 is the worst performing Call of Duty game in the US since 2008. Now that was unexpected. Hello?
Hey Bob, sorry to bother you, but I think you're gonna want to hear this. Our OpenAI stocks, they've plummeted 12%. And to make matters worse, us and other shareholders are currently gonna have to shoulder $100 billion in debt. Sir, if this doesn't change, they're gonna go bankrupt. Sir? Sir?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love?
Had to prove to y'all I wasn't a LARPer. No, but in all seriousness, guys, thank you so much for watching. This video was a pain in the ass to make. In a good way, I loved making it, but it seemed like every day that went by, something terrible happened in the gaming space. Like PlayStation would do something terrible, fire a dev studio, raise the prices. Xbox would do the same thing. It was just like something that I felt like had to be included in this video was constantly happening as I was working on it, and it was an absolute nightmare. So if you did like it, please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know which console that you grew up with was your favorite, and let me know what reason for. Mine is probably the PS4, even though it's sadly basically completely useless now. Yeah, but it's okay because we got all those games on the PS5, so it's all good. Yeah, seriously. Thank you guys so much. If you did watch it this far especially, I appreciate you more than, you can imagine. If you've, come back and have watched videos of mine before, thank you so much for that. If you're new and watching this and, just subscribe now because of this video, thank you so much for that as well. Gaming is something that's very near and dear to me, as you can probably tell. Just growing up playing games was just some of the most fun I could have, and just consuming the art that came in the video game form was something that is just unmatched. I love movies, I love TV, but it's really just not the same as playing through a game, and specifically for me growing up, I did it through consoles, and each one coming out was, a completely different experience to me, at least at the time. I'm worried about moving into the future. It's like, I don't want to buy a $1,000 PS6. No, thank you. Especially like how different could it possibly be? But anyways, that's a video for a different day. I love console gaming. I love gaming. Just the story that went along with it on both sides of it. I love PlayStation and Xbox. If you can't tell, I'm a PlayStation boy at heart. But I have no ill will towards Xbox. Any argument I would make is purely just on the side of trying to have a goofy old time with the boys, you know? Going through this to make this video for y'all was a complete treat, even though it was so freaking annoying half the time. But such is life. PlayStation, Xbox, please stop making my life a living hell, if you don't mind. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate y'all. And Bill Gates, don't ever lay a hand on me again or I'm pressing charges.